You need to make that video, write that book, call those people, but you avoid it, which makes you anxious, which makes you even more resistant to doing it, which makes you even more anxious, and now you're in the cycle of procrastination. How you master the ability to break the cycle of procrastination is an accurate predictor of your future success and happiness and how effective you are at pursuing your life's ultimate calling. So how do you beat procrastination? So every single time I reread The War of Art by Pressfield, I feel so good because I get access to breaking my own fear cycles. So here are 5 ways to break procrastination so you can pursue your life's ultimate calling. Step number 1, know thy enemy. So in the book, The War of Art, it says, most of us have 2 lives, the life we live and the unlived life within us. Between the 2 stands resistance. So the hard part isn't sitting down to write the video that you're actually watching. That's the easy part. The hard part is the process of sitting down to actually write the damn thing. And here's something that's really important. The more resistance and fear that you have for doing your work, the more you are absolutely certain that this is your soul's work and something that you absolutely need to do. That's why he says in the book, you have to wage war against this thing. And the thing that activates resistance the most are all the things that have to do with you pursuing your calling. Creative work, entrepreneurial work, education pretty much of any kind, spiritual development, and fighting addiction, which is a tough one. So basically, anything that you do in pursuit of your life's ultimate mission will be the very things that trigger resistance the most and will try to stop you from doing it. But here's the best part. Get good at seeing the enemy when it pops up, and then you can start to overcome it. Step number 2, break through the fear loop. The fear loop works like this. The longer that you delay, the more fear that pops up. And the more fear that you experience, the more you delay, which produces more fear, and boom, you are in a fear cycle. So here's an example for me. Posting on social media frightens me. It causes fear. I wish it didn't, but it does. And when I am on a roll and I'm posting every day, I feel so good. But if I don't post for 1 or 2 or 3 days, I start to feel a little bit of anxiety, which then I start to feel like I want to procrastinate more, and then I stop posting, and then my fear starts to rise, and the more resistance makes me delay even more, which causes even more fear. And now I'm waking up in the middle of the night, this is true, literally, around 3 a.m., and I'm experiencing panic. And I can't sleep because my brain is trying to get me to do something about it. So now it's working overtime. Does that ever happen to you? Now I'm in a full-on fear spiral. I don't feel good about life. I get depressed. I experience low self-esteem. And the only thing that will break me out of this cycle, I've been here so many times, is by taking immediate action. It's like putting a stick in the spoke of a wheel of the bike of life. The fear bicycle now can't go anywhere. So just by taking a little action, you break this fear cycle, and then you'll immediately start feeling more confident. Step number 3, stop planning to fail. Reading books and doing research is one of the biggest ways to procrastinate, and something that I love to do. It looks like work. It feels like work. You have your pencil out and your planner, and life seems awesome. But you're actually not taking action, which is the only thing that will propel your life forward. But man, oh, it feels so good, especially with a cup of coffee. This is what procrastination looks like. Reading a book on meditation versus actually meditating. Taking a course on social media versus actually posting content online. Reading a book on writing versus actually writing your book. The best way to overcome this type of procrastination is to employ what I call the 2% difference. I actually got this from a book by Evan Carmichael called Momentum. And it goes like this. You make a small plan, just a small one, and you immediately start taking action. Action on just 2% of the plan that will move the needle forward for you in some way. When you do this, you trigger the force of forward motion in your life, and this feedback loop works the same exact way that the fear loop works. The more you take action, even if it's just a little tiny baby action, the more confidence that you feel. And the more confidence that you feel, the more action you're inspired to take. And I go over all these steps in detail in my free ebook, The 4 C's of Power, how to get unstuck and tap into your ultimate power so you can achieve more, you can pursue your life's calling. It's awesome. So just click on the link in the description and get your free copy. Step number 4, your resistance is your compass. 7 years ago, I had a panic attack giving my first speech in a speaking class. My hands were shaking, my heart was racing, and I was looking around and everybody's looking at me and they were embarrassed for me. I was embarrassed for me. I couldn't talk. So I just sat down. I didn't know what to do. I was ashamed. I was mortified. And I said to myself, God, why? Why did you put my biggest fear in front of my biggest dream? But then I remembered a quote from The War of Art. And it says this: like a magnetized needle floating on a surface of oil, resistance will unfailingly point to true north. It points to that calling or action it most wants to stop us from doing. In other words, it's pointing to exactly where you need to go to achieve your greatest destiny. So I said, okay, if this is really pointing to my destiny, I don't believe it necessarily, but I'll trust it. All right. I'm going to go straight into it. So I signed up not just for 1, but for 2 speaking classes. I spent double the amount of time on stage with my fear. And pretty soon my shaky hands disappeared. My voice stopped shaking, stopped cracking. And it was as if the universe had said, okay, that was the price of admission that you had to pay, Peter, and you earned it. I then held my first seminar and I became a speaker as a part of my profession, my dream. So the lesson is this: use your fear as your compass and let it literally guide you to your destiny. Step number 5, create a connection immediately. When I'm procrastinating, it feels like I'm on an island by myself. I feel lonely, I feel depressed, I feel way more anxiety than I typically do, which is saying a lot. And the technique that I use to get my butt off that island is one I use and one I teach my coaching clients to use. It's my number 1 tool for getting out of my fear and into action, and I call it creating a bridge. You immediately create a bridge with another human being. This is what you do. You identify one small action that you need to take in the general direction of your goal. Doesn't matter. And I'll text somebody and I'll say, hey, I'm going to do this thing by this time. Can you please hold me accountable? And they'll be like, sure. And according to the 4 Ds of execution, this is the number 1 way above all other ways by far to get you to do something that you don't want to do, but you know that you need to do it. It's to be accountable to another human being. And the reason it's so effective is this: it's because it produces guilt. And guilt is not bad. Shame is bad. Guilt is an emotion that has so much intelligence to it. It's a feeling we get when we're not living up to our own moral standards. And it's amplified when we commit to other people. I'm going to ask you to do something. Look into my eyes while I tell this to you, okay? You have more power inside of you than you can possibly imagine. Great things are happening for you right now. If you're watching this, this is no coincidence. It means that something is about to shift in your life for the better. Whatever season you're in right now, if it's hard, just know that this is just a season for you, okay? And the best is literally around the corner. The world, we need what you have. So don't give up. Somebody's life out there is depending on you getting over your fear so you can be the leader that you were created to be. Conquer any fear, my friend, and live your dreams. I'll see you next time.